Welcome to another episode of DIOTALK. I'm Dio. Let's talk. My guest today is the host of Autism Rock and Roll. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Mitchell. Welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Hey, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on, bro.
It's an honor. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate it. Talk to me a little bit about your podcast. What inspired you to start it, to create it?
All right. So my podcast, Autism Rocks and Rolls, and it is about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. I've ran it since October 2019. I've had big guests on the show, such as Dr. Temple Grandin and professional wrestler Mick Foley, along with many other amazing guests. I've gotten to build it so much. I have a nonprofit where I have a board of 5 and gotten to do some speaking gigs. I've spoken in Oklahoma, Canada, and Orlando, and some virtual ones, but I got many more coming up. But the podcast itself wants to destigmatize the autism and show that there's no normal, that no one needs to be pitied. There's nothing to be sorry about.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. My son, I have a 5-year-old that he's nonverbal, but he's autistic too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's definitely becoming more prevalent these days. As I think almost anywhere you turn, someone knows someone or they know this person who's on the autism spectrum.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Just doing my research, it's a lot of males. It's more common in males than females.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And the doctors say it's true, so
yeah. Talk to me about a little bit of your do you know when you would at what age you were diagnosed with autism?
4. And I know through stories that I hate loud noises, had sensory meltdowns when a basketball buzzer went off, and I just showed classic signs, really. Classic 101 textbook symptoms.
Got it. Yeah, my son is same thing. The only thing, he's not that sensitive to loud noises, but he gets overstimulated when a lot of people are talking and like too many noises going around.
I get that. I probably do that too sometimes. When I need to focus on something and I can't have multiple people talk to me when I'm working, because I would rather be focused on what needs to be done than worry about everyone else. And I can't worry about everyone else while focusing on the task at hand that I need to focus on.
Got it. Yeah, no, I agree. For normal person, it can be a woman as well. So like, I totally get it. What are I asked just because my son's autistic. Like, growing up, what are like some of the challenges, or just like the stereotypic things that you might go through, or people think you go through?
Well, they think I go through a lot of aspects where they're probably right on some. Like, yeah, I'll probably have some sensory meltdowns. Yeah, I'll probably have foot and mouth syndrome as a teenager. Yeah, I may not make plan Bs. And yeah, I may have trouble socializing with relationships in a friendship, but there's a bigger picture to that. They can make it up with their talents. They can make up their valleys with high, and I mean high, mountains.
So when did you start your podcast? Like, how long was it?
It started back in 2018. I started after I joined my high school's media club, and since I followed the podcasting there on Thundercast, I decided to start my own because I wanted to continue my skills. And that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born.
Cool. Why did you name him Rock and Roll? Because he's just so awesome?
That was part of it. I'm a big fan of rock music, too.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of rock and roll music with the Queen, Nirvana, Elvis, Guns N' Roses. So that's why.
Nice. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What up? Because you're like a pillar. You inspire other people. That's what I love about your show and everything you're doing. Like, what have been like some memorable moments, or moments that like you like realize that, wow, I'm making a difference?
When Mick Foley came on, when the pro wrestler Mick Foley came on and decided to do my show for 30 minutes for free, and to know that he sees some light in me because he has a son on the spectrum, which is the initial connection, But the fact that he sees something in me says something, but also the fact that the podcast got a big time professional wrestler's attention,
A
that
Hall of
says
Famer,
something.
Hall of Famer,
Oh, you ain't a kidding, man.
Hall of Famer, multiple time champion. That's an awesome experience. Talk to me a little about that experience when you had them on. Like, were you nervous? Were you jittery? Like, were you just excited?
Well, it's kind of funny because I met him 4 times total. About to be 5, hopefully. One is through a meet and greet at like a toy store. The second was another wrestling podcast who liked my show really well. Gave us the opportunity to connect again. Then the third time was he agreed to be on my show. Fourth was he was at a comedy club doing a little comedy show, and there were meet and greet options, and we got to meet him again, and he actually recognized me, so that was kind of cool.
Wow.
But for our fifth time, we're hoping to on October 1st, he's going to make an appearance at a little local wrestling show, so we're hoping to see him there again,
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
and hopefully he'll recognize me again too.
Well, it
That's a
definitely will. I
fingers
mean,
crossed ordeal.
you're unrecognized. Like, he'll definitely recognize you.
We'll see what happens, brother. Only time will tell.
Yeah. So I can tell you're a big fan of wrestling.
Yep, I am a big fan of wrestling. I have loved it since I was 6. My parents thought I'd grow out of it, but it's just stuck with me because I think the reason why is I think it helps with social cues. I know a pro wrestler who not like a big time pro wrestler, but a local wrestler based on Indiana said wrestling helped him out with social cues. For him, I don't know how. That's a question for him. But the more I thought of it as a child, I agree. It actually helped me with social cues because it showed me, okay, this is how you react to someone being happy, to someone winning a championship. This is
Hmm.
how you react to someone talking about their wife and getting mad. So it definitely showed me a lot of social cues, but it was also an escape to see these, not like to say real, yeah, to say like these big heroes and villains come to life, where it wasn't Superman shooting lasers out of his eyes or Batman throwing a batarang. No, it was real people creating these characters who were evils partially, and some were good than the others, but they had one thing in common. They had confidence. Confidence I didn't have. I wanted to be that. So I know a lot of times kids will play their favorite wrestler growing up to idolize them and just to pretend to be them. I pretend to be every wrestler I could think of, or probably my favorites more to show that, hey, I have confidence too. And while I didn't at the time, it was an escape to give me some confidence and give me some confidence temporarily to where I can feel, okay, I can be myself for a little bit.
That's awesome. I love wrestling as well. I totally get where you're coming from. I was when I was little, I was weird. I'll probably have some mild autism as well. I didn't have much friends, very outcast, keep to myself. And once I found wrestling, I fell in love with it. Like my favorite wrestler is Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like,
Other down, but she's a fan of Stone Cold too.
yeah,
That's
my
her favorite of all time as well.
yeah, man, I love him. I named my son after him.
Oh, you did? What was it, Steve or Austin?
Austin. I like Austin better.
Austin.
Yeah, man. He was
Now,
a
if
he,
it was Austin Steve, that would be pretty funny.
yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah. No, I name him Austin. I've always loved the name Austin, and he was a big pillar in my inspiration, man. Like he's a big part of my attitude or not, effing off, always trying to stone cold son of my bosses. But
I know, and I know there are wrestlers, and I know, and I agree, but his character, I think some people who are very, what's the word I'm looking for, conservative would look down on his character.
mhm.
But I think if you look at the bigger picture, he has confidence, and he honestly didn't give a rat's, pardon French, but rat's ass on what was happening at the
Yeah,
time. He didn't care to flip off his boss.
yeah. What I loved about it is like if you kind of think about it, like without the the stunning and the whatnot, right? And opening a can of whoop ass. He was just he was he was a man clock into work, clock out, try to enjoy the best of his moment. A working man, which is something representative a lot throughout time, and just try to live a life you can enjoy.
Yeah, and a lot, and my favorite one's always the honest that on top of confidence, they had mental health issues, sort of. And I know
Hmm.
some of them really didn't. I mean, some
Hmm.
did. I know, fun fact for you, well, I'll give you a little bit. Don't know if you noticed, but Randy Savage had a mental health issue. He had
Yeah,
OCD. So I know Hulk Hogan had depression. So
yeah.
that's a fun fact for you. But I'm talking about the ones who played certain mental health issues, such as the Fiend, example, who doesn't wrestle anymore. I'm hoping he's returning soon. Um,
Bray Wyatt. So
Bray Wyatt,
yeah,
yeah. Let me think of who else. Mankind. So Mick Foley,
Mankind.
he
Yeah,
definitely played some with mental health. Psycho Sid.
Psycho
The
Sid.
big one
Yeah,
though that played mental health, who and a lot of people are fans of him. The Undertaker.
The
You had to go with.
Undertaker.
I mean, look. I mean, I know his character is big in the mental health field, so
Hmm.
when you those were probably what I were attracted to were the ones that had meant like who either A had real life mental health issues or played characters that had mental health issues. I know Al Snow did, who I
Hmm.
had the honor of having on my show. I had him on because of his character.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. He was big in the 90s. I loved his shirt. Give head. That was funny. Um, but also like Kane's character as well was kind of unbalanced and whatnot.
Yeah, I always like to say I think sometimes the people who are unbalanced are the real ones balanced.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But it helped. Despite of their imbalance of what the things they were going through, they were able to help and connect to people like us. That gave us that confidence, gave us that sense of hope.
And I don't think this isn't the sad part, but I guess a little bit of the disappointing part. I don't think the wrestlers sometimes realize how much influence they have. I know when we went to that comedy show I mentioned, someone raised their hand. I don't know if we got to meet him or not.
Hmm.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool if we did. But he thanked him for his childhood because I bet that guy had a lot of trouble in his life. But I bet when he turned on the channel to see Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, him himself, Santa Claus, I bet that just gave him some
Right,
relief.
yeah.
And I don't think they sometimes understand how much relief they're giving us.
Yeah. And I bet you they get thankful all the time. I think, like just us as people, sometimes we go through things and we don't see the appreciation in other things. We're stuck in our head sometimes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Do you talk about, obviously you talk about wrestling in your podcast, but do you currently watch the product now?
Yeah, I like to record them though. I don't do it on the weekdays because of commercials. So
Yeah.
honestly, I just like to do it on the weekends when I can, and then like weekend wise, I record all the Raws and Smackdowns. Like I have the direct TV where I can just record it, but
Yeah.
I have to catch up. Sometimes I got to catch up. I know this weekend at some point, so that's the plan. But I'll watch it on the weekends. That way, I can just skip through the commercials. I don't want to deal with them.
Yeah, fast forward. Yeah, I get it. I used to do that too. I haven't watched it in a while though. Are you a fan of AEW as well?
Not as much. I'll turn on here and there, but because of
Yeah.
my loyalty with wrestling and the WWE and how they helped me out, I honestly feel like a traitor if I went to
Yeah.
AEW for the main part.
Yeah,
So I
but
stuck with wrestling for that reason.
there's a lot of people that flip the boat, but I think it's good for wrestling. It gets on the, competition, gets on the mat, get well known, it gives you something to watch because I mean the product they're actually working on the product and have a reason to work on the product due to competition. But I think it's just, a watered down WCW, my personal opinion.
It very well could be. I mean, it could turn into that, but if you think about it, AEW was kind of winning for a little bit. So in a sense, we could have turned WWE into AEW if that kept happening.
Yeah, but then you look through history and like you go on the WWE network, right, and watch the Monday Night Raws, and WCW was at one point beating them, but it's because it's the new product. It's first time people are seeing it.
Yeah. But then you got to remember too, at that time during the transition era, they were kind of before they transitioned to the Austin,
Hmm.
they were very cartoony-ish, and some like that. Lots of others didn't. So when that shift happened, I knew there were some people who loved it, but there were lots of backlash as well.
Yeah, but they won. They
Yeah, but
won.
hey, I'll give dude when credit. They did win. That was a
Yeah,
smart move on Mr. McMahon's part.
and they won with WCW wrestlers.
I know that's the
Uh,
irony and funny part,
yeah,
kind of.
with wrestlers
If you think
that
about
yeah,
it, the guy who was trying to get him out went on to WWE and became a general manager.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
definitely comical to see that unfold.
Yeah, because they didn't believe in Triple H, they didn't believe in Austin. Taker was there when he was I think he wrestled under his real name, something like that. Mankind, who was a became iconic. A lot of wrestlers. um, enough of wrestling. I think we could shoot a whole podcast on wrestling alone.
You ain't even kidding,
Um,
man.
give me some advice on like for autism people, right? Kids, kind, whatever.
Yeah.
Just like like help them. What would if they ask you, hey, how can I start a podcast like you? How can I do it? What
Well, if you're
advice would you give?
aspiring to do a podcast and do anything, go for it. I think that if you want to do it, you have the right to do it. I mean, if it's within reason, we have limitations,
Yeah,
but I think if it's a reasonable idea and there are some limitations can be passable, I guess is what you can say, then I think you have the right to do it. And as far as autism with parents, the number one key is patience, I think. I think that we all have parents have to be patient, especially with someone on the spectrum, because at times they're gonna at times you're gonna think, oh my gosh, why is he acting like this way? Oh, because you're human too. You're gonna lose your sanity. It's just
mm,
you're human. But what matters at the end of the day is if you can understand and be patient. I know my mother said it, and she was honest. At points, there were times where she wished that I didn't like not say I have to go through this, but at the time where she thought, "Oh my gosh, why is he doing this? Why can't he not have autism?" But at the end of the day, she understood, and to this day, she understands. There are probably some stuff I still do that she would prefer not me doing, but she accepts it. And I'm not saying excuse them if it's unreasonable, obviously, but if it's reasonable, she's like, you know what? He can't help it. It's flapping his arms in public. I know I've seen someone the other day did like this and flap their arms. Then I don't see it hurting anyone. I also, because I believe in people, I believe people have the right to do sometimes unrealistic solutions that are not harmful. I'm a firm believer in that.
yeah. No, yeah. I as a parent, I understand. Because my 5 years old, he gives me work. But I don't know. I just sometimes he gets very too out of hand, but I don't think it's because it's his autism. I think it's just I don't know. I treat him like a regular kid because he's awesome, man. He's awesome.
And that I'll tell you, as a parent, and as what my parents told me, that's the hardest part is to turn deterrent. Okay, are they acting like this because they're acting like a child and they're being a brat, or are they acting like this because it's
Yes.
medical and they're having autism and they can't help it?
Yeah.
And my advice with that is research autism more. I mean, research it. I think researching and researching is definitely the way, but also go with your gut. If you think you're making the right decision, you're making the right decision. And my mom has admitted it. She's probably made some mistakes here and there, not much, but some.
Hmm.
But for the majority, she went with her gut, and looking back on it, it was right. So my advice to you on that is to figure out to research, but also go with your gut because you know your child well enough to know that okay, they're being a brat right now. He needs some discipline,
Yeah,
or okay, he's having an autism moment right now. I should help him and
yeah,
excuse the grounding.
yeah, yeah. No, and thank you for reassuring me of that. I'm having trouble with, I want to say that the system or whatever you want to call it, trying to find him a school and just having support. Even like you can had money, good insurance, and it's been real difficult for me to find help for him.
Right.
Especially.
And I get that, but I'll tell you, man, if you go to if you're ever looking help and I don't know where you're from, but if your state's not cooperating, I'll tell you, man, and we have this Zoom, thankfully. Indiana has some amazing resources. I'm telling you that right now. I know I work with a couple of clinics, ABA clinics. So they definitely could talk to you
So
if you
you're
need.
so you're in Indiana right now.
Yeah.
You're
And
from
I'm just
India.
saying lots of a lot of the Indiana states, I don't know what it is, but my region
Mhm.
to say, and the majority of the states majority of my state understands it because case in point, it was kind of funny. I was going to see one of my favorite Jokers, and I don't know if you're a big fan of the TV show Practical Jokers, Joe Gatto.
Okay.
While
Yes.
I was driving down there, I'm not kidding you, I saw an autism ABA therapy clinic. And I thought, okay, and I think that made me feel good because we understand this state kind of understands the autism because look, there's an ABA clinic that I didn't even know about.
Yeah. No, it was funny that I met somebody. I was in somebody's show, I think like 2 weeks ago, Monday Love, and he helps children with autism, and he told me the same thing. I'm from New Jersey, man. Uh, and it's been really, especially because I'm like more city rather than southern or what do you call that? Well, I'm more city like, right? And everything here is extremely populated. Like you gotta to get help, you gotta hustle your way, and hopefully, with a prayer you get it. But it's been very difficult. I have a nephew who's also autistic, but more severe than my son. And my sister moved. They moved to Florida, and at the moment he got there, he received it like this, quick.
Yeah, and Florida is one of the good ones. I know Florida, Indiana is pretty good. Talking of another state that's good. I don't know New Jersey is. I'm not saying no offense to New Jersey, but I mean I've never been to New Jersey, so I have to see that.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of people have moved to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. There's a clinic there that's phenomenal with those on the autism spectrum. I know that. So that's some information. We're in, like I said, they probably do online appointments too.
yeah.
So you can check that out maybe.
God, you got any advice? Because my 5-year old, he doesn't speak. He's nonverbal right now. And he has a callus on his right hand, like because he gets so, like anxiety, frustrated because he's not able to speak. So he since he was like 1.5, he started biting his hand, and now he has a
Right.
callus. Right? Do you have any advice for me and for other parents that have children with autism that to help them, give them assistance and try to speak?
Right. Well, that's a hard one for me because I've never been nonverbal. I don't think, at least. I've said 10 words, but never been like to the point of like zippity nut can't talk ordeal because of the reason. But I heard a lot of people what they use, and I know the clinic uses it, is what's called is spelling. So per sense, it's like a kind of like this cardboard box ordeal, and you would like let me get a pen to show you. It's better if I visually show you than try to explain it.
Got it.
Okay, so what they typically do is have like a paper like this, and they literally like write the letter like A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W, X, Y, and Z. They have all the letters of the alphabet. Now, it's obviously more space than mine, clearly.
Yeah, yeah.
So what they would do though is like they would ask, okay, you want a lollipop? Well, they go like L-O-L-I-P-O-P,
They
like
spell it
spelling it
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like when you ask them, hey, son, you want a drink? Y-E-S. Like they're spelling it out for you.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Or do you, hey, son, you want to go to the park today? No. N-O.
No. Got it. Got it. Oh, that's very interesting. I'm definitely gonna try that. Man, I've been working with therapists because here, due to the pandemic,
Yeah. And I'll be
that,
honest with a 5-year-old, it might be harder, but
yeah.
as they get older and that might happen. I know someone on the spectrum who's nonverbal, but he's not to the point of pre-K functioning level. Like he can say, hey, can you get the remote? He'll get the remote. He knows what he's saying. Now,
Hmm.
granted, I don't know if he's spelling, but that's something. But spelling for someone older, but maybe younger too. Another idea, I don't know if you try this or not, but sign language. I know that had to happen with me once with my cousin. He's not autistic or anything, but he wasn't speaking. So my the family member taught him like sign
Sign.
language, like
Yeah.
yeah, like more. I don't know what the sign language is. More or
Yeah.
something like that, or
Yeah. Yeah.
try spelling and then try sign language too. I know like house. I know there's this or something like that. You want like, hey, Dad, I'm ready to go to the house.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm definitely gonna try those things out because I've been working with like it's been me for the last I want to say almost 3 years now. I connect with a therapist because of the pandemic, there's a shortage. So I work through like Zoom, and that's how I've been learning it. And he's gotten a lot better. But
Yeah,
there's still more possibility, more
right.
opportunity for growth. You know?
And the cool thing with spelling is, I'll tell you, it doesn't have to be used with questions. It can be with anything. Let's say it's his birthday and he wants to blow out candles. Well, he can spell out, K candles, CANDLES, or blow, BLOW.
Nice.
So that's what I've heard helps a lot. I know I have a friend who's a mother and she's nonverbal as well. So not her, the mother isn't. Sorry, her daughter is nonverbal. She's 7, and I think it takes patience. Like you got to guide them in a sense when they're nonverbal
Yeah.
because I think some will say a few words like they might be able to say good or I know my friend who's nonverbal. I mean, he's a good guy. That he takes it. He's like with your son. He takes definitely some work. So I've heard him say good or my favorite thing is that he's doing it to joke around. You need a haircut, even when there's no hair on you, literally. But he's a good guy. But I know that sometimes what they're saying, they do mean something. I can, like, when he says you need a haircut, he's playing around. So sometimes what they're saying
Hmm.
may not be the exact definition. And if they can't speak, they'll spell it out for you. Now, with
Got it.
younger, sign
Got it.
language is probably the best way. But older, definitely if they understand letters and all that and they're a little more advanced, but they can't speak, spelling it out might work out.
Gosh, see, I love this because I think we need more individuals like yourself to help uh educate the public. Like I'm not gonna lie, one of my main fears, it's like when I take my son out, we're just hanging out, doing a thing, and he gets a tantrum. I feel like people are looking and judging.
Yeah.
Especially like me.
And
I'm Hispanic, so a lot of our in our culture, we tend to judge one another on the way we raise our kids without even understanding, and that's like it gets me a lot of stress and anxiety.
and I get that. And I think lots of parents are like, I know when we were vendoring, we had a couple come in and the child was nonverbal and he was like just taking toys. But they're like, no, 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 don't do that. And we were like, whatever, in a sense, because we can pick it up. But that's what you got to look at too, is what's the end result? Because what if the kid did spill it? what
Mm-hmm.
happens?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest here. What happens realistically if he spills the box of toys? Does anyone get hurt? No. Does anyone get harmed? Does anyone feel awkward? Maybe a little, but you know what? You know what? This is an end result. No one gets hurt. You know what we'll do? Just pick her up and you can do it again. I mean, we don't care to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you gotta look at the end result. I mean, if your child grabs a knife and then
It's different.
thinks
Yeah.
it's a toy and tries to go, yeah, like a sword, yeah, we gotta do something about that. But let's look on the other side here. You know, if he wants to go going the slide, that slide down, the slide backwards, because
Yeah.
that's the way he lives. What's realistically going to happen? Okay, he might fall and get a little hurt, not like to the point where it's like, oh my god, you know. But
Yeah.
let's be let's be real here. All he's trying to do is just slide backwards, and he'll end most likely end at the end of the tunnel or at the end of the slide. And if he does fall, it's not going to be a big, severe, concussion.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree. You're right. You're absolutely right. Wow. What are some things you enjoy doing besides the podcast and whatnot?
All right. Well, I'm a definitely big adventure type person. So I love zip lining. I mean, I want to go bungee jumping. Definitely
Nice.
a type of experience guy. Like to travel. Love traveling. I've been to like a lot of states. I mean, I've traveled like past states, but the states I've like visited are, let me think here, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee,
I love
Texas,
Tennessee.
um, Florida. We've been to Florida 3 times. I'll tell you, if you ever want to go somewhere tropical, Destin, Florida is the best place to go because man, it is pretty and very warm. There's a beach and it's just great. It has everything, like just like attractions, great restaurants. My dad's favorite restaurants there actually. So definitely recommend Florida. We've been to Sarasota, Florida, Cedar Point in Ohio. I've been to DC once through a class trip. I've been to Mississippi for fishing because I don't love fishing, but fishing is one of my hobbies. I'll admit that. And I've been to a lot of like places around here. I know I went to Wolf Park last summer where we saw some wolves, which was kind of
Oh,
cool.
nice.
And I went to what else was that place called? And I don't remember the other place, but I've been somewhere. And then let's see, Virginia. I went to Richmond, Virginia for my mother's birthday present. I took her to Edgar Allan Poe Museum because she's an
Oh,
English teacher.
nice.
So she doesn't like Shakespeare, and I don't blame her. I can't understand a word in Shakespeare, but we both love Edgar Allan Poe. We love Edgar Allan Poe.
So that's awesome, man. That's see, that's beautiful. That's like they don't, when you look at these TVs and things of autism, like they don't show that like you can actually live a life. They very, how do I put it? Like,
I get where you're going with this.
yeah,
You just they're not showing the positive side of
yeah,
autism.
yeah. And it's like my son, I can't even say this. Like like my son, yeah, he's on the spectrum, but like, like he's so much fun.
Oh, I get it.
Like,
I get where you're going with this 100%. I
you know,
mean, they miss out on opportunities, and sometimes it's not their fault.
yeah,
It's their fault. I
yeah.
mean, I'll admit flaws. I probably missed out on some opportunities because of me. I remember one time I was very like lost, and I wasn't doing this to stalk someone, but
Mm,
just because I wanted a friend, I would text this girl every day, not to bother her, but just to have a friend. Well, that didn't quite go so well because she thought in her case it was stalking. Looking back at it, I don't blame her. But you
mm,
understand my reasoning at the time. I just wanted a friend.
yeah.
But because of that, she probably does not like me at the moment, and probably still doesn't. But that's what I'm trying to talk about is that was my fault. But there have been situations where it wasn't my fault. It was just them being mean, excluded, and different. My mom's seen it actually. I was her student once upon a time, and they weren't like Like sometimes I did get bullied, but sometimes they would bully me and I wouldn't realize it, or they
Mhm.
would try to bring me down and I wouldn't realize it. So that's the hard part is as a parent, they're getting bullied, but they can't see it. Because I'd rather know that I'm getting bullied than not get bullied. And story with me being bullied, that's an easy one. I remember one time in sixth grade, I was just sitting down on the bleachers and the teacher stated, you cannot move, and I didn't. But I had to deal with people poking me with pencils.
That's awful. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Oh, it was awful, man. Don't worry. I afterwards apparently after because I had thankfully I left early because I had a doctor's appointment, I think. But what I did not know was my mother was in the gym and she was literally watching. So this is kind of funny. She probably laugh when I tell us. But when I left, she came in, like came right between them. And let's just say Mama Bear came out.
Hey, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I just hey, I'm the same way, man. My claws quickly come out. I'm very defensive when it comes to my son. You know, just because like right now he doesn't speak, like he don't like don't give him a chance to defend himself. And because he's in his world, and just living his life, right? Like
Yeah,
minding
and
his
I get that.
business.
I think there are times in life at his age where you probably should step in.
Hmm.
But I also believe that as time goes on, I think we sometimes have to step back.
Yes, yes, I agree.
And I'm not
Yes.
saying not have them experience it to say because we don't want them to, but sometimes they have to experience it. I bet your son at some point is going to hopefully, experience a girl ditching him. Like I had to deal with many girls doing that before. And honestly, there is nothing you can do about it. And that's
Yeah,
not me being harsh. That's just me being realistic.
yeah. But that's something normal. And that's something that like I want to say like a passes through life for everybody, for everyone. You know, it's the empathy, the understanding. Like just because we're different doesn't mean we're not the same. We're all the same.
I mean, we could all be, but I think we're all different in some ways. I think we have our own unique character traits. We may share similar things. We share the same roads. We share the same blood, not the blood type, but blood. I
Yeah.
mean, we're human, but we're all different in our own ways to where we all have one special character trait. It may be similar, but we're adding it in a unique way.
Mm. I appreciate that. It makes me look things differently. Because
You're
as a
welcome.
because it's if my son was older and he was like you and we could talk about it and I could see where he's coming from, but as a parent sometimes it's like your mom and your dad, that's your baby, you know.
Oh yeah, I get that. I mean, parents are very defensive. I think I understand the reason. I know my mother was pretty defensive of me because she said, I mean, when I was younger, and she's still like this. She has a lot more tolerable for disrespect to her, but when it comes to her family, we're done.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. So where can we find your podcast? Do you edit it? Do you record? Do everything
Yep,
yourself?
I edit it, record it. I'm in charge of the podcast mainly, but like I said, I have a nonprofit. I let the board and the president take care of that, which is my mother. So that's their thing, but I help out as much as I can with that. But you can find me on autismrocksandrolls.com. And
Oh,
if you go to the homepage, that's where everything is. So I'm on Podbean, YouTube, all the media platforms you can probably think of, and I'm there.
uh, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Yep. Yep.
When does do you drop one? When is the date for you to drop the episode or like a new
The
episode?
next the next episode I think is the 21st. And I'm not telling it because I'm a friend. My friend likes to keep it secret. I'm always the type of guy who likes to keep it very secret. I don't like to spoil it. I want people to hell haunt and seats and wonder a little bit.
Got it. But do you have a specific day? Like, let's say Monday, they'll drop.
The next episode drops on Wednesday, September 21st, if I remember correctly.
Boom.
Yep, Wednesday, September 21st.
There we go. I would love to come on your show.
Oh yeah, I'll let you come on. I'll tell you at some point I'm having a parent on. You can come on that one, along with some other parents. I'll put you in there.
All right. Hey, I'll be honored.
Yeah.
Go check him out. Go follow him. Go support him. Go check out some of his episodes, especially one with McFoley. I'm gonna go check that one right now.
Awesome.
All right, man. Once
And hey,
again,
if you need any more advice, you can talk to me. No, just give us a drop.
we'll do, man. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, you too.
I'm out.
Take care now, all right?
You too.
Bye-bye.